Please keep the cameras turned off for now when we go to the presentation. And then later on, after the presentation, we'll go to a Q&A and we'll try to get some questions in as well. But other than that, I'm very pleased to welcome our speaker this afternoon. Once again, Simon has been here once before, now it's the second time. So Simon Kærup, who's the head of press at the Danish Tour Secretariat. Simon, we've been looking forward, so welcome, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Peter. Welcome everybody, my name is Simon. As Peter just told you, I'm the head of press and communications for the Danish DÉPART. I've been on this project since 2018, so I could not be more happy to be standing here today with you guys. Only 24 more days to go until the big celebratory event. It's going to be a fantastic event for everybody across all of Denmark. We have 3 stages going across the whole country. We will have the whole world join us, and we really want to celebrate the tour. We want to celebrate everyday biking. We want to celebrate the unique characteristics of Danish cycling. I'm here today to briefly brush up the different ways you can join us as press people, as media people, as journalists, as photographers, and so on. There's a whole platform for the accreditation process. I'll lead you through that. It's quite easy to do, but there's some details you need to know. I'll briefly brush you up on some of the events that Peter just alluded to. Obviously, we have had upwards 300 different events at this time. We've had events throughout the last year, but there are many different small and larger yellow events, you might say, across the country. This really enhanced a lot from the 23rd of March, where we had Podom and the ASO team here in Copenhagen, and they were here to kick off, obviously, the 100 days to go. And for the last 100 years to go, we have had a lot of events, and we will have for the coming weeks. Yeah, and I'll also just briefly touch upon some of the highlights leading up to the first stage, which is the tour week and the team presentation. Most of you probably know that the Danish Grand Départ is 3 stages. The first of them is a time trial in Copenhagen, the 1st of July, 24 days from now, as Peter just told all of you. And the second stage is from Roskilde to Nyborg. And the last one here in Denmark is the first stage on the 3rd of July from Vejle to Sønderborg. And that was sort of encompass all of Denmark in the tour celebrations. And here you have it in another graphic. And this graphic shows that we have 8 Danish parcours cities, as it's called in French, which is in Danish Genkørselskommune, which is the different municipalities that we will cross on the 3 stages. Obviously, the first one, Copenhagen, is a time trial only in Copenhagen, but we will, on the second stage from Roskilde to Nyborg, go through the municipalities of Lejre, Holbæk, Odsherred, Kalundborg, and Korsør. And for the third stage, it will be Kolding, Haderslev, and Aabenraa. So we have 13 Danish tour cities in total. All of them are ready to go from the 1st of July, and they will all be dressed in yellow. These are some of the key media figures. I mentioned this on the last press brief, and it just goes to show that
One thing is that we will celebrate here in Denmark. We will invite tour fans from abroad and obviously from the nations around Denmark primarily, but the TV show, the celebration of the tour, the celebration of the Danish unique bicycle culture, you might say, will be broadcasted throughout the world. We have more than 190 countries that watch the Tour de France. The figures for the way that the race is connected on social media is also very impressive. And this is just briefly stating what we're trying to accomplish and what we see as sort of the primary context for the Tour de France in Denmark. One of the reasons why this is such a good match is that we're one of the world's leading cycling nations, you might say, and therefore it's a profound honor for us to welcome the world's greatest cycling race. It's a very nice match, and it's also the first time ever that we have a whole country that's actually hosting the Tour de France. Normally, the Tour de France is hosted by a city or a region. So it's the first time that a Grand Départ encompasses the whole country. And that is why we also have the very unique logo and title, which I have with me today. That's why we call Grand Départ Copenhagen, Denmark. It's also the most northern Grand Départ ever. The Tour de France have never been further away from home, you might say. So that's also very exciting. And obviously, as I stated before, the Tour de France is a really, really unique window of exposure for the Danish cycling country. And it's one we are very keen on utilizing to the best and most profound extent. We certainly also want to utilize the Tour de France as a way of making very huge and festive celebration across the country with our 3 stages. Regarding the accreditation process, which is very, very important for you guys, I've received throughout the last several months a lot of inquiries regarding this, both from German journalists, Dutch journalists, and journalists and press people from abroad, even out of Europe. And it's actually fairly simple. All of you have to register at the ASO platform for this. If you reach out to our website or you look it up on Google, you will find it under our page for press. And this is the web address, registration.aso.fr, and all of the different ways of accreditation, be it cars, be it photographers, written or live TV journalism. It all has to be done on this platform, and it's open right now. The deadline is June 15. Please try to do your registration before the June 15th. If you're delayed on this, you do have the option of trying to write me directly, and I'll see if I can do something to get you accredited, even if the deadline has not been met. There are 2 categories, or really 2 overarching categories. The first one is live images. So that's TV and rights holders, that be Discovery, Eurosport, or TV2 here in Denmark, for instance. That's the one category. The other category is basically everything else. So if you're written press photographer or web media, if you're a freelancer and so on, you fall in the latter category. And you really have to approach it very specifically to the 2 different categories, since the information you need to provide are quite different. All of the details regarding the specifics you need to provide are available on the website I just mentioned before, which is the tour cbh.dk, which is our website. It's stated later in the presentation, so no worries about that, and we'll be able to circulate this presentation to all of you after the presentation. No problem in that. But it's very important for me to state here, since this is what I've been asked to by the ASO, the owners of the race, which is that only rights holders can film the race and publish it. So do be very aware of that, since we don't want any lawful issues, you might say, regarding this. Obviously, if you're a minor or larger organization, you could do content for your social medias, but if you want to, provide your viewers or your audience with detailed content about the race, you need to have the rights for it. So press card is obviously essential. You need that in order to do the application. If you do not have a press card, it's quite difficult to acquire accreditation for the Tour de France in Denmark, or any part of the Tour de France, really. So as a media, you need to be accepted as a media, and then apply for the journalists and photographers that are within that media. So, for instance, if the BBC does or tries to acquire an accreditation for the Grand Départ in Denmark, they need to apply as a media rather than 10 or 5 individual journalists and photographers. You need to do it on a media basis. And this certainly also accounts for the many other press bureaus and medias throughout Europe and internationally. However, if you're a freelancer and or a web media that only wants to get accreditation for maybe one journalist and a photographer, then obviously we need to do it on a more sort of personal accreditation level, and this is done by you going through. You need to go through the accreditation process, but then first be accepted by the ASO, and then afterwards you can apply for the personal accreditation. If you're met by a lot of difficulties in this process, please reach out to me again, and I'll see what I can do. Yeah. And still photographers refers to the first category here. If you're part of a media, you need to acquire on the basis of the media you're signed with. If you don't have a press card and you don't get the accreditation, then there's no real reason to be incredibly worried, since 99.9% of the Tour de France is completely open for everybody. So you can go and do all the stuff you need to do, because the access that you gain by having an accreditation is really just a space in which you're provided with a place to sit, which is the media center. There you also have the opportunity to get some of the press booklets and so on. But these are also available digitally on our website. All of the content we will provide. The journalists in the media centers will all be provided digitally on our website. The accreditation also gains you access to the start and finish areas. This is the media's opportunity to talk to some of the riders, obviously. So if this is very key for your coverage of the Tour de France in Denmark, you obviously need to get the accreditation. And this also, the accreditation gains you access to the media village, the team paddocks, and the team paddocks at the finish areas. So if your coverage is very much linked to the riders, the teams, and sort of the sporting aspects of the Tour de France, rather than sort of the focus on Denmark and the public and the celebrations across the country, then you really need to get the accreditation. Parking is also part of the accreditation process. Many of the medias have already reached out to me regarding specific cars, how do you get around and so on. This is also something you have to apply for. You need to apply for accreditation for all the cars that the medias are to use. Just as there is no organized transport for the press at any time during the Grand Départ. So this is something that has to be done specifically by the medias themselves. However, we do strive to have very nice public transportation throughout the Tour de France, all of the different details regarding traffic and how to get around, how to get through and around the race on, well, basically the whole tour week is stated on our website. I briefly touched upon this regarding the non-accredited media. Feel free to cover along the route, and you can check our website for all the specifics regarding the traffic situation. So the tour week is from June 27th. However, I just wanted to show you on this slide that we have a warm-up event this Saturday, June 11th, where we have Tour de Storebælt, or if I should translate that into English, you might call it Tour de Great Built Bridge. One of the very unique highlights of the Tour de France in Denmark is, of course, on the second stage, where the peloton will cross the very unique and very huge bridge that we have between Zealand and Funen, which will also be a part of the second stage, because that's sort of the last 15 kilometers before they go into Nyborg and end the stage. So that's going to be very exciting. On Saturday, the Danes and whoever has acquired a ticket for the race will be able to actually ride different lengths of the second stage, which is going to be very exciting. When we open the Tour de Storebælt, there will be options of cycling 200 kilometers, 100 kilometers, and 25 kilometers, I think it is. And there are still press slots available for those of you who want to cover this very nice warm-up event, where people of all ages and you might say heights are able to bike a real Tour de France stage here in Denmark. So that's going to be exciting. But the tour week doesn't start until June 27th, where we have, I can state this, I think, without any problems. However, this is not really official yet, but it will be very soon that we will have an opening press meeting on June 27th, where we will have all the sort of important stakeholders for the Danish Grand Départ, and possibly also Podum himself, open the Danish Grand Départ on the Monday of June 27th at a press meeting, where we will sort of go through the different perspectives of the Danish Grand Départ. What does this mean for Denmark? What does this mean for the start and finish cities? What does this mean for the Tour de France at large? What does it mean for the race? And that's going to be very exciting. Details about this press event will follow in the coming days. But the first sort of concrete event for the Danish Tour Week will start on June the 28th, where we will open our media center in Bella Center. Most of you who have been to Copenhagen before or covered different events in Denmark will know Bella Center. It's also where we had the big climate summit some years ago. But this is where we will have what you in ASO and tour terms call the permanence. The permanence is where you will find the press center. It's where you will find sort of the larger tour organization. This is where they have the temporary offices while the Grand Départ is in Denmark. This permanence, where the press center is part of it, will open on June the 28th, and you'll be able to acquire your accreditation from there. I also get this question, so I might answer it straight away. If you're a media who have tried to acquire accreditation for like 10 people, 20 people, or even more, we have examples of that. You are able to send one designated you might say, representative of the organization who will get the accreditation for all the people who have acquired it for the specific media. So that's possible. Also on June 28th, we have a children's conference where we will have different Danish kids interview some of the well-known writers, some of the well-known Danish writers, and we hope to get some nice dialogue and conversations going there. This is done in the context of a really large number of the Danish schools have had the Tour de France as part of their equilibrium. It's been sort of a larger theme for the different Danish kids in the Danish schools. They've had the Tour de France as a theme in mathematics. They've had it in English, in Danish, in French, obviously, and so on. So also in their food classes. So there's a whole theme about children and the Tour de France that will sort of reach a climax during the children's conference, also on June 28th. And this is also the day where we will have sort of the larger opening of the permanence. On June the 29th, on the Wednesday, is what we refer to internally in the Danish tour organization, our stage 0, or you could also call it stage 4, really, because this is, apart from the 3 stages itself, probably the largest event, which is the team presentation in Copenhagen and Tivoli. And this is very, very, very exciting for us. Last week we forwarded a very interesting press release, both in Danish and English, obviously, stating all of the details regarding the team presentation here in Copenhagen, and very uniquely to the team presentation here in Denmark. We will have the 22 teams cycle a 1.5 route throughout the city, where they will cross the inner harbor, where they will cross some of the very unique characteristics of Copenhagen's biking infrastructure, which is Lille Langebro, it's called. It's a biking bridge crossing the harbor. And all throughout the 1.5 kilometer route, Tour friends from all over will be able to celebrate their tour heroes. You'll be able to celebrate the teams, the tour at large, and obviously also the many Danish tour heroes will also be a part of this, so it's going to be very exciting for them also. And throughout the 1.5 kilometers in Copenhagen, there will be different activity spots, fan zones, where you can watch the riders, where you can perhaps even acquire a selfie of sorts, if not just a picture of your favorite rider. There will be large screens showing the whole team presentation, and then they will end up at a spot near Tivoli, Axel Torv it's called here in Copenhagen, Axel Towers, where they will team by team slowly bike into Tivoli, where the live show will begin at around 8:30 until 15 minutes past 8. So it will be just short of 2 hours long. But the whole team presentation will, as I just mentioned, start at around 15 minutes till 6 or 5:45 in the afternoon. So there's going to be a lot of options for people to take part in this team presentation, which is to be celebrated by all of Denmark, the whole city of Copenhagen, and it's going to be a really unique way of letting the world's largest cycling race meet the world's best cycling city. Hence why the team presentation is really brought out into the whole city. I'll just briefly touch upon the team presentation on the next slide also. I just also wanted to mention that on Thursday, June 30th, we have a cycling top summit or political summit where we will have the different Danish tour cities, the different start and finish cities, and the municipalities behind these cities, obviously. And the Danish government and representatives of the EU Commission discuss the many different political cycling initiatives that are to be launched in the coming years, and they will try to qualify how do we make these decisions even smarter. This is going to be a political summit that tries to utilize the visibility that the Tour de France also creates, not just for professional biking, sports biking, but certainly also for everyday biking. So trying to look into that is what's on the agenda on June the 30th. And then on Friday, during the Tour de France week, we will have the start of the first stage here in Copenhagen. And then we have the second stage on the 2nd of July and the third stage on the 3rd of July. All of the 3 Danish stages will obviously encompass a lot of celebrations and festivities in the 5 start and finish cities, who are at this point all covered in yellow. We've seen examples in all of the cities now: yellow bike lanes, yellow bridges, and yellow windows and citizens from start until finish. And just a few days ago, we even saw the Great Bill Bridge lighted up in yellow. And thus also trying to create some awareness and hype around this magnificent event. So that's going to be really exciting. We have all of the start and finish cities ready for the tour for the 3rd, 2nd, and first stage, and certainly also the 8 parkour municipalities who are part of the 3 stages will also be completely covered in yellow. On Monday, July 4th, we will be ready to provide the media who wants to have it, which is reaction to the Tour de France in Denmark. How was it? Did it live up to our expectations? And so on, and the many different perspectives that is available for us to elaborate on the Monday forward. And then, and this is later the same month, this is not part of the tour week, but on July the 24th, we will be in Paris, just as we were last year, to not receive the DÉPART trophy, but to hand it on to Bilbao, who will be the host of the DÉPART next year. So then the tour family is extended once again. Yeah, and this is just the specifics regarding the team presentation. I think I touched briefly upon these details just a few minutes ago, but we will, as you can see here on the map, have a team presentation that is really placed and involves the whole city. And there's so many different ways of trying to experience and celebrate the race and the riders. And we will throughout the coming days and weeks really push this event so it could be just as magnificent as the free stages themselves. Yeah, feel free to cover and take part in this celebration of the race, which will be done in the streets of Copenhagen. We have all the details on our website, letourcph.dk, where you also can find the press release in English. Yeah, and this happens from 5:45 or 5:45 on Wednesday, June 29th, until 8:15, where the show in Tivoli ends. So, as some of you already know by now, we have a database for images and photos on our website, and we will also be providing you with photos for editorial use from the team presentation, from all of the free stages. And link to this photo gallery is also on our website. It should be fairly easy to reach it. And this database also has a lot of images from the different Danish tour cities from Denmark, tourist images, cycling images, some of the green solution images from Denmark, and a lot of images from the big celebration we had on March 23rd, where we had the 100 Days to Go launch event. Our partners from the tour itself will also provide photos for accredited media, of course. Visit Denmark will provide photos on Danish cycling culture, and wonderful Copenhagen as one of the examples. So, the different photos you can find there will provide photos on Copenhagen as a cycling city. Yeah, and this is just also briefly stating what I told you guys last time, which is feel free to reach out to me regarding almost all the things I touched upon today. Here's my phone number, here's my email, and also feel free to reach out to Eline Andersen, my colleague on the tour in Denmark. She is, you might say, our lead entrance point for all of the international inquiries regarding the tour in Denmark. Any questions and images?
Yes.
So when you have the tour around the city, will you have somebody following that tour, and will there be a press car that follows the presentation tour around the city?
The team presentation?
When they drive around the city, how can we follow it?
We will provide you with the best possible images of that. I don't know if we have a moving vehicle actually following them, but I do know that the team presentation is done in a collaboration between the municipality of Copenhagen, us from the National Secretariat, and Tivoli, obviously, and TV2, the national broadcaster here in Denmark. And they will provide a broadcast of the team presentation that will be circulated for the international super signal, which is, the 190 different medias that have acquired the TV rights for this. And part of their ambition with the broadcast, and part of the ambition that we have about the team presentation, is certainly that we will try to get as much of the whole team presentation, also the part that involves the whole city and the 1.5 kilometers I referred to earlier. That's also going to be a part of it. How it's technically going to be done, is it going to be filmed from a bike? Is it going to be filmed from a motorbike or sort of a drone? I'm not completely sure of at this point. But yeah, we're going to provide everybody with the best possible images for this. Also still images, if that's your specific question.
Okay, another question, Anna? So
I would just like to just inform that there's also a video news release being produced for Visit Denmark.
Yeah.
With all the Denmark Goes Crazy in Yellow video footage, which will be available.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Yeah. And obviously, Visit Denmark is a key stakeholder and partner in the Danish counterpart. We collaborate with them at all the different important press and comms milestones and the tour week and the many different ways that we will see small and larger yellow events. It's also going to be communicated in the VNR, the video news release that is done in collaboration with Visit Denmark. So that's going to be available at some point. And the details regarding this is also going to be published on our website.
thanks a lot, Simon, for your presentation. It's Peter here again, if you can hear me online from the IPC. We are now going to open up for questions. So we've had a few questions here from the room already, and we're just calling out to our participants on Zoom to either raise your hand for a question, or you can type a question in the chat if you like. But before we go to that, I'll just check here in the room if there are any questions. No, doesn't seem to be the case. Simon, I was wondering about two things. Could you just, again, just to clarify the thing about the rights to footage of the ride itself? You talked about it, but I guess a lot of maybe also the international media, other media might be out, as you say, en route, because there's so many places to go where you can just go freely. What is the regulations on filming the race?
Yeah, so I guess common sense is always good in any case, and I think the medias that needs to broadcast the race, they obviously know that they need to have the rights to do it. But you know, as a journalist or as an independent freelancer or whatever, you might get the urge to film the race, and no problem in that. The problem, I think, arises when you publish it. So you can film all you want, but if you want to publish it, and the assignment you have been given for the media that you work for, if that task sort of states that you have to film the race, then you need to acquire the license and the rights to do it. So for a lot of the medias that needs to broadcast the race, I don't think that there will be an issue, because they know they need to acquire them. If you're a small blog, even here in Denmark or based in Europe or whatever, you're used to acquiring the rights from me. So if you have any questions about the do's and don'ts for the video stuff, please reach out and I'll try to provide you with an answer as soon as possible.
Sure, thanks. I think that's good advice. If you're in doubt,
you can always contact you, and then sure. We've got a journalist from Reuters news agency with us online this afternoon, and he's just asking, could you confirm again that as part of the international news organization, I shouldn't apply for the accreditation alone, but have the organization as a whole apply for the reporters?
That's correct.
So if he works, this specific journalist work for Reuters, then Reuters needs to apply for it. Or he should be given the task of applying on behalf of Reuters. So, for instance, even if he's only applying on the basis of one, he needs to do it on the backbone of the organization rather than him personally. Certainly also the big media houses and news agencies, yeah.
Sure. So that's also what I understood from the beginning. The media comes first, and once they are kind of accepted as a media operator in this connection, then you can apply individually on top of that.
Yeah. You really just need to get sort of the media up and running as a profile within the ASO accreditation universe, just as, when you create a profile in any other digital universe these days.
Sure.
These days, yeah.
Anders, did you have another question or?
I just have some curious questions, like the run on Saturday, the 11th. That's free to film, right? That's no rights on that. On the warm-up.
I would guess so. Yeah.
Is that this weekend?
This weekend, yeah.
That's on Saturday. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's free, right?
Yeah, I would guess so. You need to look up the specifics regarding this on the website that is made for the race, Tour de Storbælt. They have a webpage themselves. It's obviously a project in its own right. We're just, you might say, a supporter of it. But it's also very important for us to sort of, make the reach of this event as large as possible. And if there's the opportunity of filming this, then we'll gladly try to support all of the medias that has this as an inquiry. I can also try to reach out to them specifically right after this to see if there's any trouble in this. All of the medias that actually wants to do something or write or publish about the race on Saturday, feel free to reach out to me or Eline just as soon as possible, and we'll try to arrange what is needed for you to make the best possible coverage.
Okay, Simon, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
It's gonna be good fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Whatever way it goes. But again, just thanks to everybody who joined us on Zoom, and thanks to the journalists here in the room. And I think, as Simon has said many times, you will be available in your office for any questions media related. And of course, should any of you also need us here at the IPC to help you a bit or give you a hand or provide some information, you're more welcome to do so. I'm pretty sure that here from the International Press Center, we'll also be forwarding to our network more of the key media information that's coming from you, and also in general trying to help with all the stuff related around this event to provide information.
Yeah, within the next 14 days, we will be ready with an updated and very nice press kit, which will sort of provide all the details I've given today about the Tour Week, the large and small events during the Tour de France in Denmark, also the different key contacts you need at our secretariat and from the 5 different start and finish cities. You can find that, yeah.
So we'll be looking forward to getting that, and of course we'll circulate to all of you when we get it.
Yeah.
And with that, I think that's just, if we don't see you here again, we just wish you a very nice Tour de France. We're all looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that.